We got olives, pimento, olive oil, cauliflower, carrots, celery, more olives, red bell pepper, capers, pepperoncinis, water, vinegar, salt, spices, all kinds of yumminess. Hey, how you doing? Some of you are probably wondering what the hell this is. And some of you know exactly what I have here. Central Grocery Olive Salad. If you don't know what this is all about, let me show you. Muffuletta sandwich. Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time here and you're interested in learning how to cook authentic Cajun cuisine, comfort food, and just about anything for that matter, then you've come to the right place. Click that subscription button and that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Now today's video is a special one because I'm going to show you a New Orleans classic, and that is the Muffuletta sandwich. Now look, this thing is ridiculous. It's huge. It's got tons of meat and cheese, and also the main ingredient, olive salad. Now, if you don't know what that is, it is super delicious, and I'm going to leave links below so that you can get the exact olive salad that I'm going to be using today, which is from Central Grocery. Now, it is said that the Muffuletta sandwich was invented from Central Grocery from some Italian immigrants that moved to New Orleans over 100 years ago. So this recipe is over 100 years old, and I'm going to show you the original. That is why I bought the olive salad from Central Grocery, because I want it to be authentic. I want to have that authentic flavor that I'm used to, that I remember. So like I said, in the description box below, there'll be some links to the olive salad that I bought. Now you can get it on Amazon, right? But it's shipped from Central Grocery, okay? Now this sandwich, there's two important parts to it. The olive salad and the bread. Now that's how it's got its name, Muffuletta, okay? It's an Italian loaf. And it's hard to find unless you have a bakery, you know, close to that area, or an Italian bakery or something in wherever you live. For me, I couldn't find it, so I had to make my own. So I'm also going to show you that today. We're going to make our own Muffuletta loaf. Then we're going to build this sandwich, and this sandwich has salami, it has mortadella, it has ham, provolone, Swiss, and it has this olive salad on it. You talk about crazy. It's huge, it's ridiculous, it's delicious. Look, let's just go ahead and get to the kitchen so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. All right, we're going to start off by getting our bread going first. Now, the first thing we need is some warm water, about 110 degrees. All right, and once we have that, what we're going to do is add our yeast. And this is just one of those little packages of yeast. I'm going to have all of the exact measurements and everything in the recipe in the description box below. Now I'm going to add my sugar. Okay, now once I do that, I'm just going to give this a quick mix, make sure it all comes together nice and well, and then we're just going to set this to the side for about 5 to 10 minutes. Now in the meantime, while that's sitting and getting ready, let's go ahead and get the base of our dough going. All right, I added my flour to this mixing bowl. I'm going to add my salt, and then I'm going to add my shortening. Now I did this recipe again, and I found that using olive oil works a little bit better than the shortening. So that's the recipe I'm going to leave in the description box below. Now we're just going to go ahead and add our dough hook, and I'm just going to mix this, you know, maybe 2-3 minutes or so while I'm still waiting for that yeast to make sure to come together, just to break up that shortening and mix the flour and salt. And now we're ready for our wet ingredients. Go ahead and add that yeast and water mixture, and then we're going to put this on and just let it mix on low for the first maybe 2 or 3 minutes or so. Let that all come together. We'll turn it up maybe one more notch until we just get a nice dough. And as you can see, this is coming together, and we're also kind of doing all our kneading and everything right here in the mixer. All right, if you're doing this by hand, just keep on going. And this is a very dense dough. which is going to make a very dense bread. But it's supposed to be. That's how we're able to add the olive salad and not have the bread get soggy, right? But anyway, you'll see that in a little while as we get to it. But we're just going to go ahead and flour our board, and we're going to need this a little bit. I mean, the mixer's done most of the work. You know, if you don't have a mixer and you're doing this by hand, just make sure you work it and work it and work it until it gets nice and kind of rough to, you know, to handle. And then what we're going to do is just form it into this little ball here, okay? And then what I did was I took a bowl and I took some of that spray olive oil and I coated the bowl. I'm going to lay the dough in there. Then I'm going to flip it, you know, just kind of move it around a little bit because I want some of that oil to get on the dough. And then what we're going to do is cover this in plastic wrap, and then we're going to set this aside and just let it sit for about 2 hours or so. We want this to rise and double in size. All right, now that this has been sitting for about 2 hours, first thing we want to do is just press some of the gases out of the dough, and then we're going to lay it onto a floured board, and I'm just going to form it into kind of a rough disc, right? And then I'm going to break my roller out, and what I want to do is I want to get this flattened out to about 10 inches in diameter, okay? If you don't have a roller, you can do this by hand. I just found that using a roller kind of gives you more of a uniformed shape, right? You want to make sure that it's probably about 1 inch to 1.5 inches thick or so. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to cover this up with a towel. We're going to let this rest for another 30 minutes or so. And then from here, what I'm going to do is put this on a baking sheet. All right. Now I have an egg wash here, which is basically just 1 egg, about a tablespoon of water. We beat that together. I'm going to brush it on the top of this bread here. And what that's going to do is help brown this bread. And also we're going to add some sesame seed to it. And that egg wash is going to help these sesame seeds to stick. All right, I went ahead and got my oven preheated to 425 degrees. I'm going to place this in the oven. I'm also going to take a pot of simmering water. I'm going to place that underneath this bread, and we're going to let that sit at 425 for 10 minutes. And then after 10 minutes, we're going to drop the temperature down to 375. I'm going to take the water out. We're going to let that go for 20 to 25 minutes. All right. Now that this has been sitting for a little bit, we're going to go ahead and cut it in half. There's still steam coming off of this thing. It's nice, warm, fresh bread. You can't get any better than that. And now what we're going to do is take that olive salad, and I'm going to take this olive oil yumminess that's in there, and I'm going to take this little silicone brush, and I'm going to brush both sides of the bread. Be generous. That's why we make the bread the way it is, nice and dense, so that you can get this flavor in there. It's not going to be soggy, trust me. So go ahead and be generous and get that on there. And now we're just going to build this baby, right? We're going to start off with our salami. And then once we get our salami in there, we're going to go ahead and add our ham. Now look, make sure you get some really good quality meats here, okay? I got a nice, good... And it's a little pricey deli ham, but that's just the way I went. And now we're going to go with our mortadella. And then once we get the mortadella on there, we're going to start with the cheese, all right? Listen, like I said earlier, be generous, okay? Now we're going to go with our Swiss cheese, all right? And I got a nice, good quality Swiss cheese here. And then after we put the Swiss cheese on here, we're going to put some provolone, all right? Look, I know this looks like a lot, but trust me, it's worth it, okay? Once we get our provolone on there, I'm just going to top it off with one more little piece of Swiss, and then we're going to do it all over again. You know, we're going to go with our salami, then we're going to go with our ham, and we're going to throw in our mortadella. And then from here, once we get all the meat on there, it's the star of the show, and that is this olive salad. Be generous with it. That's why this is a muffuletta. This olive salad makes this sandwich. And what I did was I went ahead and put it on both sides. And as you can see here, it's a little bit of a pain to try to get it all to flip over right, but that's okay. I'm going to take all these extra little chunks. We're going to throw it underneath that bread. Or you can eat it if you like, which I did. Go ahead and sneak a few pieces, right? But then we're going to go ahead and cut this into quarters. And this is usually how they serve it there at Central Grocery. Just a big quarter of a sandwich. It's just ridiculous. A quarter could probably feed 2 people, right? This sandwich in particular, hey, I had a couple people at my house put away a whole quarter, right? But here you go. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, muffuletta. Now, this thing was ridiculous and delicious. And if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments what you thought. And next week, I'm going to show you a Cajun smoked brisket. Oh, that turned out delicious. And if you want to make sure you catch that video and you haven't already, click that subscription button and that notification bell. And while you're here, check out one of the other videos on the channel, and I'll see you there.